yet again another sex scandal. We have Pelosi and Matt Lauer. And how about the Dow Jones reaching 24,000 points?
Also this morning on the Truth Hour, Charles McCullough sits down with Fox's Catherine Heritage, does an interview regarding the Clinton email scandal. All of that and a lot more today on the Truth Hour.
Something really wrong is going on. What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today? I want the truth.
Good morning. The Truth Hour radio hour has begun. I'm joined with...
Hey, I am David Eagle, and thanks for joining us here on the Truth Hour.
And I'm Shane Jameson. He is the man with a plan. He's the guy that does all the plugging, and he is our technical wizard. And at this time, he will do his thing.
If you've watched the show, you know the technical wizard is...
hit or miss.
Yeah, that's right. Technology. I love it. Hey, but we thank you for joining us this morning and every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want to make sure that you know to please chat with us here on the live chat on YouTube. If you're watching this after the fact, you can also comment on the video with any questions, comments, complaints. You can email us at truthourradio@gmail.com. Please like, subscribe, share our YouTube, and find us also on Facebook. On Facebook, the Truth Hour Radio, we also put out some information about what we're going to be talking about, and also just reminders when we are going live, but typically every Thursday at 11 a.m. And we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir, for that. Once again, welcome everybody. We appreciate your attendance here on the Truth Hour. We need your insight, your feedback. We're doing this show for you to provide insight, truth, political awareness in today's society, and also stand on our conservative faith-based principles. What do you think, Dave? How about we start out with a positive note? There's so much in today's jam-packed hour that is somewhat negative, slanted, so let's start out with something positive today.
Positivity. I like it.
How about the Dow 24K plus as we speak, ladies and gentlemen? Unbelievable. And Trump's tax plan hasn't even gotten off the ground yet. They haven't even passed it fully. It's just been proposed. And coming out of Black Friday, all the online, Cyber Monday, they're showing amazing record money spent in the last week to 2 weeks, just in that aspect. And then
I heard last night that Amazon had its biggest day of sales.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
Ever.
When was that? Black Friday or Cyber Monday?
Yeah.
Or all of it?
I think all of it. I'm not sure exactly what day it was, but at least that weekend, their largest ever. And this is unreal to see. This chart that you're seeing on your screen right now
a little outdated, but
it's about really 2 months because this ends on October the 1st, 2017, when the Dow hit 23,000. But now we are hit 24,000. But you see the incredible growth that has been happening thus far since the election in November of 2016, and it just continues to grow.
Well, look at that, and it's amazing you bring up that. Is that chart basically ends 2 months back, or culmination of 2 months back, so there's 1,000-point difference between where that chart ends and where we're at today, guys. In 2 months, the Dow has jumped that high. And so, we can touch base and unpack that a little. We go back to the Obama years.
The economy
Obama was
doing good.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a restrictionist. He was more restrictions. He continued to press the boot of restrictions and government on the the free market of the country, and
every industry.
It struggled for 8 years. I mean, he never got above, I forget the stat, but he never got a 3% GDP. He never even attained that. Well, look here. Trump hasn't even officially been in office for a year, and it's been revised to, I think, 3.3. Guys, this is before the tax plan even gets announced and actually gets implemented. When they start repatronizing billions of offshore dollars that will come back into this country when the corporate tax rate's lowered, guys, I believe we're going to see something that will rival Reagan's tax plan back in the 80s. We haven't seen anything yet. And I'm a big believer in fundamentals and graphs. I used to trade in futures and commodities. But I'm going to tell you what. I don't think I'd be short in this market, and I don't believe I'd be selling out of my positions anytime soon, because I can tell you what, we're probably putting in a new base, and this thing's going to go to the moon.
It's a wonderful thing. I mean, I just think about, you talk about Obama and his regulations that hurt things. I mean, I think about what happened here locally.
Yeah.
This area, Western Pennsylvania, huge coal market.
Yeah.
Steel and coal. And steel has really been dying down in this area for decades. But the coal market has always done fairly well, especially whenever we've gotten really hot weather or really cold weather, the usage of that electricity.
Yeah.
But all the regulations, the EPA regulations that Obama opposed, all the tax regulations that were put on that industry killed it in this area. And the coal market fell apart. Coal miners lost their jobs. A lot of them now have gone over to the oil and gas industry. Consol was a huge name in this area with coal, and now they just dropped it all because they could not keep up with the new regulations. It wasn't profitable anymore. And how many times do we shoot ourselves in the foot as an economy we continually to add regulations and add regulations, and we kill industry, and in doing so it kills our economy, and we put more people out of work. We put more strain on the governmental benefits that help people in those situations, and it doesn't do anybody any good.
Yeah, well worded there, Dave. And I completely concur with that. It's a simple mathematical equation, guys. You got businesses on one side of a graph, and on the other end of the graph is the consumers. The businesses are offering a service or a product, and on the side you have the consumers that want to purchase or patronize that business or service and purchase that product or that service. And the quickest distance between 2 points is what?
Straight line. Absolutely. Well,
and anytime you put government in the middle of it, it bogs it up, it regulates it, it dilutes that process, and both sides of that scale lose out. Yeah.
Why did retailers do so well on Black Friday? Cheyenne just asks, did we go shopping Black Friday? I didn't, because I get angry in crowds. It just, anxiety just builds up, and I can't deal with it, and I just stay home, and sometimes I might shop online.
Dave, is that like the person that tries to stop you from passing in the passing lane? Is it one of those scenarios?
Yes, it's exactly one of those scenarios when I feel entrapped, get a little crazy. But whenever we are doing well financially, making money because industry is doing well, then we will fund that money back right into by purchasing goods.
Right.
And we see this here, Black Friday with the retailers doing well with their sales. Amazon having their largest ever, and it's all because the economy doing so well, and we see that here in this graph.
And it is factual stuff that's happening, but guys, it's really just rumors of what's fixing to happen has gotten us to where we're at now. So imagine when there is the tangible. Imagine when there is the factual. There is a lot of stuff that is factually happening. Trump did roll back a lot of regulations. That's factual. There are some positives there. But just to have an administration in the White House that just exuberates out of every pore of their being capitalism and free market and individualism and self-sufficiency and empowering the little guy, this is where we got. So imagine when the full tax plan comes to fruition. It's going to be amazing. And welcome, Cheyenne. And I don't know who else is on. If you're on there, guys, shoot us a chat. We do show a number of people that we do have watching. If there's anybody else out there, go ahead and just say howdy to us. We'd be glad to acknowledge you. And once again, my daughter Cheyenne, where's she at, Dave? Way out there in El Paso, Texas.
El Paso. And also just kind of coming across the newswire, one of those rhinos,
Republican in name only,
John McCain, says he will vote for the Senate tax bill.
Where you see? Did you see that?
Comes across, it just come across on my news feed. So that's a little bit of a surprise that he's going to support that.
Because
needs to.
He was probably one that was going to be considered to probably be a no vote. So I'll be, pleasantly surprised if McCain comes along. Then that's a good sign.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait for the actions to match the words. It's easy to say what you're going to do, but until you actually do it,
yeah, exactly.
We'll see. Yes.
Well, and then back, let's just talk a little bit more about the, the state of affairs. Just it's amazing what a positive attitude and a positive spin puts on things. It just frees up everybody. Mm-hmm. I don't think, people just got used to being confined and restrained and all kinds of businesses having regulations shoved down their throat. And during the Obama years, I always used to say, even in my industry, the oil and gas industry, which I've been in for the better part of 10 years now, Obama was definitely against oil and gas and fossil fuel and everything. And I mean, he was the kind of guy that backed all these, experimental like Solyndra and all these things and pumped $500 million into that company. Government can never be the facilitator of an investment tool. They always lose. That's not their job. That's not what their purpose is. And another point about the overall economy, a lot of the Dems are saying that this proposed tax plan is just another. There's some angles that actually will help the rich, but that can't that's the farthest thing from the truth when you dive into the numbers. But here's something that's a great point to always remember: you're never going to get hired from a poor person. Nobody ever got hired for a job from somebody that was poor. In other words, you get hired, people that generate the generation machine of jobs in this country are from people that have the money to do so, mm-hmm. and have the freedom and the tax structure to maximize that opportunity. So it's not a bad thing. Obama used to promote and say that it was bad, capitalism's bad, succeeding and accelerating in the business arena and that side of things was bad. But
how is that bad?
Exactly. It's not. It's what our country was built on.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's the incentive to go out and to work hard.
Right.
You see these other things like communism, socialism.
It never has worked in the history of mankind.
There's no incentive for me to spend 7 years, 8 years in schooling and working, as a resident in a hospital, to put all this time into if I'm not going to get the financial gain of putting in that hard work.
Yeah.
If I'm going to make the same amount of money as, somebody who just hangs out at their house all day long watching two crazy guys on YouTube,
Exactly. Well, and here's
why do I want to do that extra hard work?
That in the socialism, being a socialist and communism and all of those isms, mm-hmm. you don't only have a restraint in the economic possibilities of said country, but you also have a restriction in the freedoms of said country, just on a person by person basis. Just like you said, we're sitting here out of the freedom given to us.
Oh, absolutely.
Through this great country, well, from God, but through the great country that we have and the rights that we have here, to sit here and talk political, to talk religion, to talk everything without fear of persecution, guys. And we should stand up, and we got to be aware, and we got to fight for that every day.
Yeah, and there's biblical principle.
Absolutely.
That goes along with these ideas of capitalism, with the ideas mm-hmm. of people who work hard.
Right.
Paul told the people at Thessalonica, because they were waiting for Jesus to come back, and they thought it was happening immediately, and so they just kind of sat back and said, "Well, what's the point of working?" Mm. And Paul reminded them, if a man will not work, neither shall he eat. You need to be people who are working hard. And then when he writes the letters to Colossae and to Ephesus, that we need to be people who are working hard and working diligently, not to be men pleasers, but to please God, mm-hmm. to be people who are working as not for our employer. He puts it in the context of slave and slave owner, but really in our context of employee, employer. Mm-hmm. Work hard for our employer, because it shows who we are as a Christian, that we're really not working for the employer, but we're working for Christ.
Right.
We're working for God to bring Him glory.
That's a great point there. And I meant conservative values, self-sufficiency, independence, responsibility, morals, ethics, mm-hmm. principles. Taking care of one's self, one's family, one's community, and like we said, we can go back. The way that this should be being done, where the government sticks its head in, and where we are currently in a state of affairs of all these people, and this is changing because of the Trump administration, but we have so many people on welfare, so many people crutching on the social services system of this country that's just bogging it down. Record number of people on food stamps that is dropping drastically by the day because of the Trump administration. But it's simple. We were supposed to be self-sufficient, take care of our families and the people that struggle in our local communities. It was never meant to be a government thing. It was meant to be a community and a church thing.
Right.
And that's where we've went awry as a collective community and government.
Ted Cruz, to kind of, I guess, summarize some of the statements that he had made about the tax reform, he says, there's not enough millionaires and billionaires within our nation to pay for all the social services that the Democratic Party is wanting to fund. Yeah, it's great to come up with these great ideas that we're going to give free college.
That's
we're going to
Bernie
give
Sanders' plan.
Free health care. We're going to give free this, free that. Free. That's awesome. Yeah. But where does that money come from?
It's funny. You take a socialist, self-proclaimed socialist. It's the funniest thing you'll ever see. Find somebody that believes in socialism, the true definition. Be sure you know that they know before you do this experiment. It's the simplest, most kindergarten recipe you could ever do with somebody that believes in socialism or redistribution, and look them in the eye after they've basically understood and they've confirmed to you that they believe in and they buy into socialism, which is, if I make X amount, then it's my obligation and duty inside the socialist parameters to then take a portion of what I rightfully own and what I rightfully deserved and earned, and give it to a portion of people that didn't put out as much effort as I did to basically help them. And as soon as you look them in the eye and say, okay, well, you believe in doing that, you believe in government taking my money and giving it to you or somebody else, well, I want you to take your check, the money you're making right now, and I want you to take 20% of that and give it to somebody that sat on their backside and didn't earn it. And instantly, they start backing down. I don't know of any socialist that wants to do it, but they believe in the principles. You can't have it both ways.
Right. Yeah. Either you're in with both feet or you're not.
Yeah. Welcome, Lauren. We appreciate you, buddy. You're on here every week, man. Morning. That's how we say it down in Texas. Morning, evening, afternoon to you. Stuff like that.
Stuff like that. All right.
So, let's go into something else, I guess, Dave, or what do you think?
Sure.
You pick something. We'll go with your lead.
Well, there's a couple of different issues that are going on in our society that is a severe... Shine says, we don't talk like that.
Sure as we does.
That's a real problem. And here's one of the issues that just came up yesterday morning.
Yep.
NBC fires Matt Lauer because of inappropriate conduct that has been apparently going on for a while. And I guess this morning he issued a statement that he was very sorry for the things that he had done. And I'm sure not all of the details have come out yet. And, with all this that has been coming out, I'm sure there's two sides to the story. But we have got to do better as a society, better as a people in the way that we treat others and not objectify other people. I mean, this comes down to Christian principles of, treating other women as your sister, older women as your mothers. We wouldn't objectify, at least somebody in their right mind, their own brothers and sisters, their own mother, and to treat people like this in such a sinful, crude way is something that we as a society need to get away from. And I know it keeps coming out and keeps coming out. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, guys, we touch base on this every week, and it's something I've been chanting and tooting this horn for a number of weeks now, ever since the Harvey Weinstein situation broke. We're seeing a purging of a lot of this, and what's happened is that it just took one big blow up and one big release and reveal of
somebody or someone doing these things for there to instantly like develop out of thin air. All of a sudden there is this platform of sorts that's been manifest that has given these other accusers of these men a comfortable place to step forward and to speak about what's happened to them. And let's talk about Matt Lauer here real quick. This is a very odd situation based on, if you look at all the other situations where you typically have some you have some public rumors or accusational things, and then in a matter of days or weeks there's something that happens.
Yeah.
Guys, we woke up yesterday morning. I'm looking at Fox News, which I do every day. And Matt Lauer's gone. He was there the day before. He was there last week doing the Macy's parade. He was there. I mean, he's their guy. He is the franchise of that morning show, and he's gone. So, two things. One thing, he, due process, and maybe we want to be sure that everything gets out there in the right way. But I think NBC saw the train coming down the tracks, and I've watched some more stuff. They've known about this gentleman for years, and so it's not a situation where it's not a situation that they don't have all the facts. I think the fact is that they've had these rumors and this knowledge for years, and because of all this other stuff that's unraveled and dominoes that have fallen, NBC saw well enough ahead to get ahead of this, to go ahead and do damage control and let go of Matt Lauer. That's a hard decision. I mean, you want to talk about company goes down. I mean, the face of their company. Yeah. In a lot of ways.
And it's...
So I kudos to them for making the tough choice.
And, and this kind of ties into another thing we're going to be talking about here with Nancy Pelosi and wanting due process for her colleagues.
It's adding Al Franken.
Keeps growing. Yeah. And there is... that we need to make sure that happens, that
right. We don't want
the whole legal system is built on innocent until proven guilty. And
right.
We need to make sure that is in every aspect.
Can't lose that.
No. And it's funny how the hypocrisy is for, we see people like Matt Lauer and others who, instantly fired at this, but, our political friends, well, we need to keep them, we need to keep them in until, these come out and for the truth to develop.
Yeah.
But in all things, and Cheyenne brings up a point about a feller down at a youth minister involved in child pornography. In all these things, this objectifying of women, objectifying of children, they're not, and what I mean by that is they are not people anymore. They're just objects for my own good pleasure.
Right.
Which it isn't a good pleasure. And that's exactly what it comes down to. It's sin. And it is Satan making a way in to our heart. Driving a little wedge in there to continue driving us down. If you have time, I'm going to put a plug in here. If you go to Washington Church of Christ, live stream. We live stream our services, but this past Sunday,
I was just fixing to say that.
Yeah, a fellow by the name of Chris Flickinger presented a lesson
on
Satan and really the workings of Satan and how he will get into that. He will tailor make
a temptation
for
based
us.
On your weakness.
Absolutely.
And find that, and once again,
and that's what's happening. All these people, Matt Lauer apparently has some temptation with women when he's away from home. He's a married man, and in that context of marriage is where the fulfillment of those desires should happen.
Right.
But when he's away from home, apparently has asked women into his hotel room.
It's horrible.
And it's just. Satan knows those things, and that's what Satan's going to attack. This feller with the child pornography, he knows those weaknesses we have.
I hate to say this, you know what I mean? But it's a real common theme in these type situations. And you always want to see. I mean, you always want to sense that somebody's ready to restore, ready to repent, ready to come back, ready to. But you have to question. You have to, and this isn't being judgmental, but it's being factual. Somebody comes out after there's an avalanche of evidence against them over the course of years, and there's a repercussion for that, they're fired, there's pushback and blowback from the community and the people that they've offended, and then all of a sudden you see an apology. Now, I'm not saying that God doesn't use those situations to finally push said person down to so far down that they have to look up and they have to acknowledge. And maybe there is a true genuinity about that repentance and about that apology. But you have to question, if you really were remorseful and you really were, repentive and truly regretted the offenses that you committed against said people, it would just be nice for somebody before all of these things are coming out, before all this, somebody that was guilty of something, just... Why don't you ever see anybody coming out and admitting things before they're accused of it?
Right. Because
it doesn't work like that.
Godly sorrow, the scriptures tell us, godly sorrow produces repentance. And so many times, whether it's shame, and so we want to hide it and not let other people know, but then we continue the act.
Right.
But, real repentance would be, I know this is wrong, I'm going to apologize, make reparations for it,
a course change,
and to not do it before again. Absolutely, I mean that's what repentance is.
You have
it's
to turn
that
180,
absolutely,
yes, yeah.
that 180-degree change from what we were doing. But this sorry after the fact, this sorry because I was caught. It's becoming old news.
It's a word. You know what it becomes, and once again, we can't judge someone's heart. But you have to look at the facts, and if somebody comes out after that, now maybe they do come to and have a actual truly repentive heart at some point during or after that. But what that initial apology is to me, Dave, it's a worldly, hollow apology to save face and to do damage control. I mean, it's really what it is. Yeah, and I mean we look at these allegations, guys. That's only one. I mean, we got Harvey Weinstein. That's old news almost. We have who's it? John Conyers in Congress. Been in Congress for I don't even know how many years. John Conyers, as of right this moment, is in a hospital somewhere, suffering supposedly from some health-related issue. He's up in his years. Being accused from numerous women now of sexual misconduct. You have Al Franken. That was a couple of weeks ago. Guys, it's just, I mean, we're seeing, it's amazing. It's amazing. And the one thing you touched base on that we need to talk about, we'll transition here, but we don't want to ever lose sight of due process and innocent until proven guilty, because here's what happens. You lose sight of that judicial system that's put in place, and the weights and balances that were inherently put into the Constitution for our rights, to make certain that, oh my gosh, well, you know what, I don't like this person, so I'm just going to say this about them.
You're right.
Because then all of a sudden you've ruined somebody's life.
Right.
And how can we actually vet that?
Slander, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to lose that.
And even though it might be found that the slander is unfounded, or the lies that are being told about somebody is unfounded, and that other person even gets in trouble for spreading those lies, but the damage is done. Yeah,
it's too late then. Well, like Roy Moore's a case in point, and I don't know, but I think some of his accusers have been actually proven wrong, now, but he's had I don't know what, Dave, 8, 10, 12 people come forward. I mean, only so many have been, I think, just proven. So, I mean, what do you do then? Do you do an averages? Well, there's 3 that we've proven are wrong. So what about the other 6? I mean, I don't know what you do there. So Republicans are scrambling. I think is that Alabama? Is that Alabama for his Senate seat? Is that what he's running for? I can't remember. But Georgia or Alabama. Either one, they're scrambling now, because here's what we don't want to do. Right. Politically, we don't want to lose that seat. But see, to me, the politics of this shouldn't trump the principle of this, and the morals.
Right.
And that's unbelievably what's happened. But what do you want to transition into now? We've got a few other topics here.
I just want to make a quick note too about Matt Lauer is hypocrisy that exists there. I don't think we touched on that. But just not too terribly long ago, Bill O'Reilly, right? No.
Oh, yes, we talked about this. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so, and I should have had this pulled up. We could have done a snip, but we won't. I mean, it's common. You can pull it up, guys. Google it. So in the last few months, so Bill O'Reilly was fired from Fox News for similar situation. So this isn't a partisan situation. This is on both sides of the political aisle. So I'm conservative, but there are people on the conservative aisle that have done some very bad things too. Bill O'Reilly was accused of some things. He settled with a number of people, or one or two people there at Fox or outside of Fox, whatever the case may be. They let him go. He, in turn, a number of weeks or months after that, between then and now, has sat down with Matt Lauer, none other than Matt Lauer, and did an interview where Matt Lauer's putting him to task on, where is he at now? What does he think about what he did? Has he gotten any better? Is there anything he'd done different? I mean, and this guy is the guy that just lost his job yesterday.
Yeah, he's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But, grilling somebody else.
Yeah. And we don't want to transition quite yet. One last thing on that due process thing. I want to point out the hypocrisy here. This is one thing that is partisan, and the left is championing this. They are all of a sudden, they've got Al Franken, Conyers, Matt Lauer. He's definitely on the left, on the media. He's on slanted left. Okay, so funny how the Dems come out now, and the left are all, oh, no, let's slow this process down. Let's slow this down. Hold on, let's don't jump to conclusions. Mm-hmm. We want due process. We want to see the facts. We want to vet all the accusations. Where was that principle when they put together salacious, fake things put into a dossier from Russian agents and all these other things that have been at the center of the Trump collusion, supposedly Russian story? Where was the slowdown? Where was the methodical, let's be sure about our fact, let's fact check things? Where was due process when they've tried to hold President Donald Trump accountable for stuff that was pulled out of thin air? I want to know where that type of mentality was then, and it still doesn't exist now.
No. Who needs due process for that side?
It's an absolute joke.
It's got to be one-sided. It's got to be one-sided.
Yeah. What are you talking about there, Lauren? You talk about everything, LOL. Oh, Pocahontas. Yeah. That's what was that? That's Warren, Elizabeth Warren's nickname. Democrat Elizabeth Warren. We're going to talk about that. You want me to talk about it? You can do it.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So Elizabeth Warren actually, a number of months or years back, I don't have the details today, but I believe what she did is on a college application to get some kind of special funding, she said that she had a certain percentage of some type of native bloodline.
Yes.
Right? So now the joke is, and President Trump pushes this, he calls her Pocahontas.
But here's the thing, it's not a joke.
And it's the truth. Yeah. It's the truth that she lied, said that she was Native American in some aspect to get government funding or government assistance or basically to qualify to get into this college, and flat out has been proven a liar, has absolutely no Native American bloodline in her genealogy, and then she's going to say that Trump is using racial slurs by calling her Pocahontas.
Well, here, watch this. Watch this. On the screen, check this out. Oh, wait, I got to get rid of Pelosi here. All right, so this is my Google. All right, I'm going to type in Pocahontas.com. All right, you see that there? Pocahontas.com.
Yeah.
Enter.
Oh, wow. So underneath Google, on Google's organic search.
No, that's not organic search. That is on her website.
Oh, but I'm saying, I thought you went to Google and typed in Pocahontas.
No, if you just do Pocahontas.com. Pocahontas.com is linked to Elizabeth Warren
for Senate.
So they are paying. You have to.
Yeah,
for WashingtonChurchOfChrist.com and .org, I have to pay for those
Google
sites.
ads. Google ad, I forget what you call it, but you have to pay. It's not just that. You have to pay to be linked to that, even in organically.
So she herself is paying for Pocahontas.com to link to her Elizabeth Warren.
Do me a favor. We're going to do this. We're going to wing this.
Okay.
Go to Google.
Okay.
Just type in Pocahontas. Nothing else.
Pocahontas.
Look at all of the stuff, guys. Well, of course, this is because everything. I mean, we're not really proving anything here, but look at everything that is. You do have some historical facts there on the right, but look at what comes up. You have Wikipedia, But then you have Pocahontas, not racist, because Warren is an Indian conservative. Say, look at all of this stuff, right? So, whatever. The fact is, she tried to corner the system. She cheated. She lied. And Trump is great at calling people out on that. So I have no quarrels with that.
I just can't believe that she would say, that it's a racist remark, but yet her team at least, bought that domain name and linked it to their site.
And exactly. So there's no way around it.
All right, let me shut that video off.
Hey, there's Dutch on there, my son. So I have my daughter and my youngest son on today.
Is he homesick?
Yeah, he's homesick.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That ain't cool.
Hey, but you know what? When you're sick, you need the truth hour. So thank you, son. I'm sure you'll hear that, and he's probably laughing his backside off.
Poor kid. How do I go up?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
So Dutch is on there. So, hey, buddy. Hope you're feeling better. Hey, drink that ice water I left for you. You need to hydrate. You need to go to the bathroom a lot. Okay, I know I probably didn't have to call you out on that. I think he's running a fever. He doesn't feel good, so kept
exactly, Cheyenne. She should just accept the nickname. Her own team has put that together, that she's Pocahontas.com, and just deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently she likes it if it's tied to her website.
Yeah. All right, enough about this. Let's get on to
where we want to go.
The truth about Hillary. Is this the Ed Stein, or what do we got? What do you got queued up? Is that what we have ready?
Well, I've got about McCullough.
Oh, this is McCullough. Let's do that.
And
okay, let's don't do that yet. Let's jump. Let's go do McCullough. Guys, we're fixing to play a video just to mix it up. This is a video. Catherine Heritage did an interview on Fox with Charles McCullough, former Intelligence Community Inspector General. That's a mouthful. Say that 10 times and spin around. This gentleman was hired by the government, our government, to be basically a whistleblower for anybody that's doing anything wrong. And during the Clinton email scandal, we're going to go back a few years, he was front and center in a good bit of this and was, throwing up red flags about some stuff that was done. And look at what the Hillary and the Obama machine did to this guy. Listen to this.
All right, here we go.
An Obama appointee in the federal government says he was marginalized and even threatened by his superiors simply because he tried to raise the alarm about classified information that resided on Hillary Clinton's private email server. Our Catherine Heritage has that exclusive tonight.
There was personal blowback to me, to my family, to my office.
Few people know more about the Clinton emails and the fallout than Charles McCullough, the former internal watchdog for the U.S. intelligence community.
What should the American public know about those 22 top secret Clinton emails?
I've heard people say this is overblown. I've heard people say this is much ado about nothing. Had the information been released, there would have been harm to national security.
So putting lives at risk.
Absolutely. Sources and methods, lives, operations.
Speaking exclusively to Fox, McCullough says he went to Director of National Intelligence James Clapper about a year before the presidential election. The intelligence agencies had just found their classified information in the Clinton emails.
He read through these affidavits very thoroughly, and he said this is extremely reckless. And he mentioned something about the campaign will have heartburn about that or something.
Shortly after, McCullough says his team was marginalized.
You felt you were on your own in this.
I was totally on my own, and I was told by senior officials to keep the director out of it.
You drafted this letter in January 2016.
Sure did.
In the letter, McCullough told Congress that emails beyond top secret passed through the former Secretary of State's unsecured personal server.
All of a sudden, I became a shill of the right. I was told by members of Congress, be careful, you're losing your credibility. There are people out to get you.
By February 2016, Clinton campaign emails released via WikiLeaks suggest McCullough was a target.
I think there was certainly a coordinated strategy. In fact, I not only think it, I think it very, very much so.
Based on evidence?
Yes.
Even though the FBI email investigation was far from complete, the Clinton campaign nailed down its talking points.
Was there an effort to deliberately mislead the public about the classified emails?
Absolutely. There was an effort certainly on the part of the campaign to mislead people into thinking that there was nothing to see here. But frankly, the thing that disappointed me the most was the president saying,
there's classified and then there's classified.
a lot of people in the intel community spend a lot of time keeping secrets secret. And to sort of inject that sense of confusion into people, I don't think was altogether responsible.
As Election Day approached, McCullough says the threats went further, singling him out and another senior government email investigator.
You were given a warning?
It was told that we would be the first two to be fired with her administration, that that was definitely going to happen.
Is that how it's supposed to be?
No, I was, in this context, a whistleblower. I was explaining to Congress, I was doing exactly what they had expected me to do, and all of a sudden I was the enemy.
More than 2,100 classified emails passed through Clinton's personal server, and to this day, no one is accountable.
If you had done this, what would have happened to you?
I'd be sitting in Leavenworth right now.
Fox News asked a spokesman for the Clinton campaign, the office of a senior Senate Democrat, as well as the former director of national intelligence for comment, but there was no immediate response. McCullough recently retired after 26 years of government service. He told Fox News today that he's grateful now to tell his story, Tucker.
And that is a story. Catherine Harris, thank you very much for that.
Got us. Back on. Wow. You guys just listen to that? That's just another layer of this rotten onion that is the Clintons and the Obamas. I mean, you got on the precipice of the election, the campaign, you got Obama coming out because all of this has been declared that she definitely had classified emails. She definitely had top secret emails. It was indisputable. Even after she bleach pitted and deleted like 30,000 emails that haven't been found yet, there were still a handful or a small remnant of emails that were found. I mean, and then Obama comes out on public TV like he always does. He's the injector in chief. He injects his own opinion and comes out and says what? Well, there's classified and then there's classified. Yeah. No, there isn't, sir. There is classified, and she had classified on there. It's a criminal act. She should be sitting in Leavenworth.
And all because of trying to protect her campaign.
And Obama's legacy.
Absolutely. Because she's his Secretary of State, right? It was all done under his guise of leadership. And, if he can get Hillary in as president, he's set as well.
Exactly. And what that does, it definitely continues the cover-up of all of this other stuff that has been disclosed because of the fact that she didn't win. So you see an effort, a concerted effort on the Obama's part, campaigning and doing all these other things tied to the Department of Justice, the FBI. A lot of these things are such a coordinated effort. When Trump got elected, I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm sitting here, we're witnessing it daily. Imagine, I guarantee you, the Obamas and the Clintons, they probably didn't sleep for a week because they've sat back and wondered just how much of this was going to be uncovered.
She looked pretty rough whenever she came out and finally gave her concession speech.
Yeah, exactly.
But, all the sleepless nights, all the worry and trying to cover up, and all these other lies, all these other sins to cover up mistakes, to cover up lies. How much effort do we put into trying to cover lies? We see it every day in the political arena, but even in our own lives. We lie to get out of trouble, and then we've got to have another lie to cover that lie.
And that lie's got to be a bigger lie.
Yeah, and it just keeps perpetuating itself into this massive nastiness that isn't worth it if we would just simply tell the truth.
Yeah.
If we would just simply be the Christians that God has called us to be, and not be people who lie, let our yes be yes and our no be no, be honest, truthful people, things would be so much easier in this life.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you what, we need to all, have the current state of affairs in this country at the center of our prayer life. We need to actually have that in our thoughts. We need to be up on the information that's the truth, and we need to be standing for what's right. Guys, because I'm telling you, you talked about this a couple of weeks ago or last week. How much of the Trump administration has been, is divinely put into place. I mean, God, nothing happens without God's, I say that God's got to be at the center of it regardless.
Right.
But look at the, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, it's like the swamp being drained. Those are old adages, but it's just an amazing, like Trump came into office, and I'm not saying he's got his own flaws, but I think God's using him and this administration to come in with the world's biggest flood lamp that is boom, and it's been on ever since the day he took office, and it hasn't quit shining, and every day it finds a new crevice.
Yeah.
It finds a new cave. It finds a new, whatever you want to call it, and it shines light on something that's been covered up, that's been manipulated, that's been deceitful, that's been sinful, and that lamp is brighter every day, it seems.
Buy the truth and sell a not.
Yeah.
The truth, as Jesus says, will set you free.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it does that whenever, that's why we have this title of the show, The Truth Hour.
Yeah. Doesn't mean we are opinionated. We try to fact check everything we say, but don't put the Truth Hour pageant across, like everything, I mean, well, here's our statement: trust but verify.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we tell everything that we know as far as Scripture. We definitely 100% truthful on that. We believe those things, but politically, we have our own opinions. This is an opinionated show, based on conservative values and what I believe to be fact and truth.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheyenne brings up that she ought to be sitting in prison for what she did to Benghazi, and of course, with everything else that she committed and her campaign, not just her. If anybody else would have done those things, just like this feller McCullough, he just says, if I did these things, I'd be in Leavenworth.
Yeah.
And absolutely, if it was anybody else, and Lauren adds that, Obama was saying these things and protecting Hillary, so he could line his own pockets. And absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and
he's protecting his future.
It's a money thing, but it's also, I'm going to say it's probably 80 to 90% a protection thing, because there was so much that was questionable, and I think we are starting to find out that's illegal in nature that was done through the various departments underneath the Obama administration. So there was a lot to care about to cover up. There was a lot to worry about that they didn't want to have come out. And, wow. What better way, guys? I mean, look at all the ties. We'll go in upcoming weeks about Uranium One, the fake dossier. We haven't even touched base on that. We've pivoted off of that for a couple of weeks because there's just so much other news going on. But believe me, that is still simmering. That is still front and center. And the more evidence we get, we'll bring it to you in weeks upcoming. But guys, I mean, what better way to deflect and distract the American public away from being guilty of something then accuse your adversary of the very same thing. Accuse your adversary of the very same thing in such a way that you shock and awe the public into believing exactly what you want them to believe. So, I don't buy any of it. I know that the Clinton machine and the Obamas, in a lot of ways, and a lot of their agencies underneath the Obama administration were corrupt and rotten to the core, and time has proven that. So, What else we got, Dave? We got about 10 minutes. Did we go through everything? Well, we got this.
You got, I believe the last thing was we got Pelosi. We talked about Pelosi. We got Matt. We got Dow.
We have Mark Stein's email, or Mark Stein's video here with
we do. And that kind of
ties into what we've already had,
but we can throw that on there.
Yeah, let's throw it on there.
All right, another little video.
I'm sure
guys.
they're tired of hearing me talk, so let's do that.
1 second here. We're going to go full screen, and then we're going to push play.
And go.
I have grave misgivings about a lot of this, because I think as a society we're short of what we used to quaintly call courtship rituals, and we risk actually making things worse by having nothing between, the rather cold world of hookups and friends with benefits, and on the other hand, Harvey Weinstein staggering around in his bathrobe. But in the case of Conyers, Nancy Pelosi, the most powerful woman in Democrat progressive politics, just gave a textbook illustration of how vulnerable women in low-level jobs are cowed into not coming forward. What does "he's an icon" mean? It means he's a somebody and you're a nobody. What does it mean when she says, I don't know who these women are? They're just girls in the typing pool, so they don't count. He's the icon.
That's right. So I'm just getting right now in my ear, actually, an update on this. Pelosi has just released a statement saying that she did speak to one of the accusers, apparently whose name is Melanie Sloan, and she finds the accusations, quote, disturbing. I don't have word on whether she's going to be calling for him to leave the Congress, but she does seem a little bit slow to make a judgment about Chairman Conyers. And I don't want to think it's partisan, but I can't think of another good explanation.
Well, no, because she's essentially making the same argument that Weinstein and the others made when she started saying, oh, he was very important in passing the Violence Against Women bill. Well, you know, the old line is that bank robbers rob banks because that's where the money is.
Right.
Sexual predators use the cover of liberal progressive feminism because that's where the girls are. That's what Harvey Weinstein discovered. That's what Charlie Rose discovered. And that's how John Conyers seems to operate, too. And in Conyers' case, it's worse. Because if a guy wants to behave like a pig and abuse women in his private life, that's one thing. Conyers took it to the next level. He made you and me and all the other American taxpayers pay for it.
Well, that's exactly right.
Which is disgraceful.
All right.
Yeah, so we're back on, guys, and yeah, I'm glad we watched that because I actually forgot about a good point, Dave. So Mark Stein was with Tucker Carlson a night or two back and was discussing the ongoing sexual scandals and the hypocrisy of the left to all of a sudden want to slow things down. Well, we can't, we can accuse Roy Moore of doing all this, and we gotta ramp that up. We gotta speed that up. He don't need to be on the ballot, in the election down there. And all this other stuff, and anything against Trump and anything against anybody else, they'll ramp it up. But when it came to their guys, they want to slow it down. Due process. Well, did y'all hear that very last part? I forgot about this. This is huge. So it's bad enough if Conyers and anybody else in the Senate or in government is ever accused of these things on either side of the aisle. But look at what they're uncovering by the day, and I think we've only tipped the iceberg on this. Conyers had an accusation or an accuser come forward in the last number of months or years, and guess what? He settled with that person, just like somebody might go to court, right? Well, it didn't go to court, apparently. I don't know. In fact, I take that back. I retract that statement. I don't know if it went to any kind of court. That's yet to be determined. But either way, he settled with the accuser. Well, you know what settling with an accuser means? Money. Yeah. And guess whose money? He settled his accusation.
I don't have to admit guilt, but I'm just going to shut you up.
Well, I'm going to shut you up. Okay, so that's bad enough, right? I'm going to pay you off.
Yep.
But whose money did he settle with? He didn't settle from his own bank account in wherever, Podunk, Arkansas, or whatever his bank is. He settled with your money, my money, Dave's money, the taxpayers' money. There's a slush fund or a fund, and they somehow title it a certain way, and out of taxpayer-funded money goes to pay off, shut up, these individuals that are accusing them. How many other people have had this? We will find out, and we'll let you know. That's unbelievable.
It's
so when you pay your taxes this year,
we're paying for.
There's a small portion that could have went in years past to individuals paying off people to keep them quiet because of sexual allegations.
And then how many other wasteful, you talk about wasteful spending, and people say, oh, we spend way too much money for paying the military and supporting the military and these conflicts that we get into. But what about things like this? What about abortion? What about all these other things that we should never use our tax money for? If we would get rid of those things, then we would be fine with funding schools. We would be fine with funding the military. Be fine with funding our highways and our infrastructure. If we got rid of this junk,
just look at. I guess what I'm getting at here, and the great points, Dave, is what I'm getting at is so you have this. Okay, you have the sexual allegations layer of this onion with Congress now. Let's just eliminate the Weinsteins and the Charlie Roses and the Matt Lauers and the media, the elite media. That's one thing. But in this onion at the core of it is the government, our government, taxpayers funded government. We pay for the government. We pay for their jobs. They work on behalf of us. And here we are, because of these allegations, someone's digging even further, and then we find out that we're paying for their defense, in a sense. It's astonishing.
How are these people in political power punished for their wrongdoings?
It's hard to get fired out of government. It's hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, and so, okay, so if these individuals...
And he won't step down.
Al Franken, this guy, McCullough?
Well, not McCullough.
Not McCullough.
John Conyers.
And
what should they do? They should step aside. They should resign from their posts.
They resign, but they're already set, right?
Well, they're already set, and they could get some kind of pension. There could be something in... I don't know how the government people are paid. But,
and so they're not having to pay for the legal fees out of their money.
Right.
You know, taxpayers have covered that. Any
and
fines?
It's a hush fund.
Yeah. And so how are they punished? They're not being punished at all. They're saying, okay, well, I just need to resign. I mean, and these people, majority of them that have come out already that have gotten in trouble with these things are older and could retire anyhow.
Yeah. Well, Franken comes out and says,
all right.
Franken comes out here a few days back after all that stuff come out, photos of him, groping a woman and like right up on her basically, and some other situations. And you know what he says? He's all this pushback and all this stuff. Well, he's like, well, I'm just going to go, you know what I'm going to do? He kind of apologized. And he said, you know what I'm going to do to solve this? I'm just going to go back to work for the American people. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Is that what we've regressed to as a nation for accountability?
Right.
Wow. Unbelievable.
It is.
Guys, we have approached the end of the show. It's really the worst time of the day for me because I wish the show would never end. I could talk all day. He wishes that I didn't, but he's great at it. And I am too. So
sometimes it's good just to keep our mouth shut. And so I'm just not going to even touch that subject at all. Hey, but I want to let you guys know that I appreciate you joining us. And if you would, come back about 1:30.
Yeah.
Over on twitch.tv/Fuzzy Spartan. And we will do a Bible study. We're in Genesis chapter 8. And so we'll work through that. And then our topical discussion is on Joshua. That we'll be talking about today. So pop over there if you have time at 1:30 for, I guess, more, less political, more Bible.
Yeah, it's the 180 of this. That's right. We're like 5 to 10% Bible and Scripture here. We didn't get into as much as I would have liked to today, but we didn't have it set up. And then we're 90% political, and over there with Lucas and his great show that you help him with is
makes for a good balance.
Yeah, he does. Probably 99%.
Both of these things, because we can't put our heads in the sand when it comes to politics.
Yeah,
we need to be aware that these things are going on, that this sin is out there, and we need to be people who speak out against those things.
Right. That
these things aren't right. These objectifying of women, this abuse of finances.
Yep.
The lies and hypocrisy that goes on, those things aren't right. Those things aren't Christian founded.
Right.
And then also to look at Scripture too.
And don't let it be an idol in your life. I mean, I am pretty. It's a passion of mine, and I have to keep that in check. Because I could sit and research topics and look into fact checking things because I'm passionate about politics. I'm passionate about the truth, and I'm passionate about conveying that. But even that can become an idol. So don't let things become an idol. There's only one idol in your life that you should have, and that's God. So yeah, hey, real quick, shout out to everybody here that joined us today. My daughter Cheyenne, my son Dutch, Lauren, and who else was on there? We had a number of people, but I don't think they all checked in.
No, that was all that was.
Everybody
kind of chatting with us.
Yep, thank you guys. We appreciate your.
Thank you so very much.
Please share us. Please like us. Please subscribe. Please whatever.
Yeah, we appreciate your comments. And if you have any questions, comments, complaints, gripes, chat with it here on YouTube. Send us an email at truthhour@gmail.com and give us your thoughts.
This is where he plays the cue for the music and I do the drum set on his head.
Are y'all ready?
You ready?
All right.
See
Thanks
ya.
for joining us, guys. Take care. God bless.
Bye.